if you go on, you can get on probably YouTube or just put Bernie Sanders and Alan Greenspan and watch the exchange he had. It's remarkable.
Well, this is
Bernie just basically undresses him.
Yeah, Robert. In fact, this was about 6-8 years ago, and 2011. Well, this is a more recent one. Okay, let me just play you a clip of Bernie and Alan Greenspan, and you'll get a sense of what Robert is talking about here.
You consistently come in here every year and you tell us how great the economy is doing, and you tell us how great unfettered free trade is. So that's a crisis I want to talk about. Talk about unfettered free trade that you have been supporting for years. We now have a record-breaking trade deficit of $618 billion. We have a trade deficit with China alone of $160 billion, which has gone up by 30% in the last year. There are economists who tell us that trade deficit is going to go up and up and up. People who go Christmas shopping understand that when they walk into a store, virtually everything on their shelves is made in China now. You have the heads of large information technology companies in America who basically are telling us, hey, we ain't going to have information technology in America, no longer white-collar jobs, because in 10 or 20 years, China is going to be the information technology center of the world. Economists tell us we have lost millions of decent-paying jobs. We have lost 16% of our manufacturing sector in the last 4 years alone, and we're going to lose more and more white-collar jobs to China. And yet, year after year, people like you come here and say, oh, unfettered free trade, it's just great. Question, Mr. Greenspan, after record-breaking trade deficits, the loss of blue-collar jobs, the beginning hemorrhaging of white-collar information technology jobs, the understanding that if we don't change things, China is going to be the economic superpower of this world in the next 15 or so years, have you rethought your views on unfettered free trade?
All I can say to you, Congressman, is that in spite of the forecasts of the economists that you're citing, of which I can find a whole slew who will report exactly the opposite, we have nonetheless created the highest standard of living of a major industrial economy in this world.
Really?
We have.
Oh, really?
That's what the facts are. The question of increasing globalization, for which the trade deficit is a symptom, is something we should be pleased about, not concerned about, because a considerable amount of our real wealth creation, our real income creation, for a broad spectrum of our society, even including the problem which I happen to agree with on the issue of undesirable increase in concentration. Despite that, we still have the most prosperous nation in the world.
Mr. Greenspan, are you telling us that we should see as a positive thing a record-breaking $618 billion trade deficit and the loss of 3 million manufacturing jobs in the last 4 years? That's a positive thing?
Our unemployment rate is 5.2%.
But the new jobs that are being created are low-wage jobs with minimal benefits, and we're losing our good-paying jobs.
That is not factually
Really?
correct, Congressman. I'm sorry, that is not what the facts are.
Well, maybe, Mr. Greenspan, one of the problems we have is you talk to CEOs, I talk to working people. And what working people tell me is they are losing good-paying jobs. Parents are worried about the fact they're sending their kids to college now for information technology jobs. Those jobs are going to China. You're telling me we're creating good-paying jobs with good benefits.
I'm telling you that I don't listen to the anecdotal stuff by itself. I look at the statistics, and the statistics tell us that we are getting job expansion fairly much across the board.
You're not worried about the loss of 3 million manufacturing jobs?
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentlelady from Illinois, Ms. Biggert.
The gentleman's time has expired. Enough of that. You can't pick it. Bernie, you cannot pick on Mr. Greenspan any longer. So, Robert, is that the clip you were talking about, or is that?
Yes, and thank you so much for playing that, because that's Andrea Mitchell's. I can see it in her attitude. She is just, and you know how you had that conversation.
Well, just because Alan Greenspan is Andrea Mitchell's husband doesn't mean that she shares his politics.
No, but I still feel that she showed animosity towards Bernie every time he's on. She's, tries to put her own.
Well, yeah, he
twist
has
on everything.
he has trashed her husband a lot of times in a lot of ways over many years. You got another one there, Shano, you want to play for us? Yeah, sure. These are fun to listen to if for
I love them.
no other reason. You got one? You got to pull it up. Okay. All right.
Caught you on C-SPAN. Great show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I thought they did a great
And you
job.
must have read all your father's books in his library downstairs in the basement, because you know a lot of stuff.
I read a lot of them, and my dad also was an encyclopedia salesman for a while when I was 5 and 6 years old, and we had a complete set of World Book encyclopedias there that he used to sell. And I started it with A, and my goal was to read the entire 20-volume encyclopedia. I never accomplished it. But my dad, he had 20,000 books in his basement, and he was pretty sure that he had read pretty much all of them. So anyhow, here's Bernie and Alan Greenspan again, just for the pure sport of it. It's so much fun to listen to. Robert, listen to this.
I have long been concerned that you are way out of touch with the needs of the middle class and working families of our country, that you see your major function in your position as the need to represent the wealthy and large corporations. And I must tell you that your testimony today only confirms all of my suspicions. And I urge you, and I mean this seriously, because you're an honest person. I think you just don't know what's going on in the real world. And I would urge you, come with me to Vermont, meet real people. The country clubs and the cocktail parties are not real America. The millionaires and billionaires are the exception to the rule. You talk about an improving economy while we have lost 3 million private sector jobs in the last 2 years. Long-term unemployment has more than tripled. Unemployment is higher than it has been since 1994. We have a $4 trillion national debt. 1.4 million Americans have lost their health insurance. Millions of seniors can't afford prescription drugs. Middle-class families can't send their kids to college because they don't have the money to do that. Bankruptcy cases have increased by a record-breaking 23%. Business investment is at its lowest level in more than 50 years. CEOs make more than 500 times of what their workers make. The middle class is shrinking. We have the greatest gap between the rich and the poor of any industrialized nation, and this is an economy that is improving. I hate to see what would happen if our economy was sinking. Now, today, you may not have known this.
Is my mic open?
I suspect that
I just want to point out, this was like more than a decade ago.
Tens of millions of American workers. You have defended over the years, among other things, the abolition of the minimum wage, one of your policies, and giving huge tax breaks to billionaires. But today you reached a new low, I think, by suggesting that manufacturing in America doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the product is produced. We lost 2 million manufacturing jobs in the last 2 years alone, 10% of our workforce. Walmart has replaced General Motors as the major employer in America, paying people starvation wages rather than living wages, and all of that does not matter to you. Doesn't matter if it's produced in China where workers are making 30 cents an hour or produced in Vermont where workers can make 20 bucks an hour. It doesn't matter. You have told the American people that you support a trade policy which is selling them out, only working for the CEOs who can take our plants to China, Mexico, and India.
Yeah, and it continues. And then Greenspan comes on and goes, well, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, Bernie Sanders takes Alan Greenspan to the woodshed. Robert, thank you for the call.
You're listening to Thom Hartmann. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archives.
And it seemed to be an annual spectacle because Bernie in the House was the chairman, I believe, or was high up on one of those committees that Greenspan had to testify. I think it was the banking committee.